learning, of course, and I wish them all the best in their venture. And definitely, I would like you to think like her and what all they can do, to develop a startup like this and what it takes to take it forward. So, may I welcome Ina to first start the session.
Thank you, Anuja, for this wonderful introduction. When I hear my own introduction, I am very flattered. Wow, who is this person? But when I look at me, yeah, itna kuch nahi hai. I'm okay, So, but really nice to hear good words about myself. And where do you put it, right? Is the presentation? All right, I had seen this. This.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, so the topic that was shared with me, that Anuja just identified a topic and said that I have to speak on this. Anyways, you can just do this. I can continue to talk. So this is a very complicated topic. Firstly, I didn't understand really what is this. Like, okay, fine. I know what to do. I know I want to make money. I know that I want a startup. But I'm a very basic person. So all this was like, I said, oh God, what do I? So I kept thinking about it, and then finally I was able to churn out something of my own understanding. How many of you would just, we were dressing for the ladies and women here. How many of you would just decide that acha mujhe jana hai and you came? Just, it was a very natural process that you just decided that I want to be here. You could have been at a movie, you could have gone to eat out, or you decided to be here to listen to me and Pyari. How many of you decided to just come? That's all. You can raise your hands. There was no question, and you had nobody to ask, right? Did you ask anyone? So I think you're already empowered. Okay, the moment you are not kind of accountable in a way that मुझे पूछ के जाना, घर में इतने बजे वापस घुसना. That is you are already at a level where you belong to that strata of society where you are empowered women. That means you can take all your decisions. So it's good, since we are empowered, we need to think about others' empowerment and not about our empowerment. We are not here for that. I can just speak, I can read it. Experiment. Already experimented, he has done everything. Doesn't matter. It's just that sometimes it takes a little longer. मैम fine, it is about my journey as being an empowered woman rather than, look at it. I look at it from a very individual as a person, what I have gone through. Now, if I say that I went through some kind of huge gender discrimination and all that, I don't know because I feel empowered. I take my own decisions, I take my own call. So, I have not been in a position of to think that because I'm a woman, this did not happen to me. And I was deprived of a certain thing because I'm a woman. That happens to probably another segment of society probably, and not personally to me. And when you come about, yes, I do cost and I do work with gender discrimination, which is pretty prevalent. But if with our education, with the kind of exposure we have as women, in that case, I have never felt any difference when I'm talking to a man that this is a man. I just feel I'm in a bodysuit which is kind of structured differently. I could have been a giraffe for that matter, and had given a bodysuit of a giraffe rather than a woman or a man or a transgender. So be it. And I feel pretty equal. In fact, I feel better than equal than most, so that's where I am. So a little bit about me. Anuja has already explained, introduced. I have done my MBA and I had a good career going for me, and then I went on a sabbatical. After the sabbatical, I was, by the time my sabbatical was over, I was heavily pregnant, and I had to restart my career. There was no job. That was a bit of discrimination I did feel because I was a new mother and nobody wanted to give me a job. So, but that didn't come in my way of kind of making my own money, because I just kind of decided that fine, make me a job, so you have to do something. So that is where I started my journey, my entrepreneurial journey in year 2005. So, coming to what are the kind of challenges really women face? I mean, if you Google it, you will find it everywhere. Like it's something that we talk about almost every day. We are aware of it. Now, the first challenge is education. Now, again, I would say the same thing that we cannot call ourselves, because I was looking at women empowerment. I thought to myself, ठीक है, मुझे empowerment चाहिए, मुझे कैसे empowerment चाहिए? Somebody is giving me money, somebody is giving me validation. Somebody is saying, there's a helping hand. There is somebody to support me. Somebody is supporting me. So then I realized कि यार मैं भिखारी हूँ कि किसी को पैसे के लिए जा रही हूँ, किसी को moral support के लिए जा रही हूँ, किसी चीज़ के लिए. No, I'm good. I don't need. This is something that I should be able to give out and extend to people or women. So when I talk about education, is what Pyari is doing, for instance. Education. We are in a situation where we can offer that. And trust me, you don't have to go far. It is your immediate circle that you have to look at. You don't have to step out and make it a very big thing. Not all of us can start CSR activities, but for instance, you have helpers, workers in your house. Now, I have seen the typical trend in this strata, especially the domestic help. They will not educate their daughters. The daughters will typically come and work in your household, and we are also happy with that the daughter is working, so just good with us. But the boys will always go to school, and you will always hear about them, tuition fee being paid and extra tuition and etc. कि लड़का है उसको पढ़ाना है. So the first impediment to women empowerment is definitely education and awareness levels, and it is at their level, not our level. We are sorted, again I would say. Then the biological part, and societal and financial. Now in all of these three, women, particularly women, because they cycle in and out of economic cycles, or productivity cycles, or work life cycles, because they become mothers, so that takes away a good time. They cycle out of work, and when they get back, it is not easy to again step in. Now there are organizations like Tata and who have made it impossible for women to have second innings. For instance, even during my time, I think when I wanted to get back to work, so there was a barrier I couldn't get back to because I had a break in my career of 2 years. So that still has, but I've been grateful for that because if that did not happen, I wouldn't be here. I would be in some corporate job, yes, bossing somebody. So I have been pretty relieved of that. So societal that we talk about the pressures that we socially face, whether it is singlehood, again that is discrimination in a way. If you're single, if you're married, if you're a mother, but you are single, but you are. This is typical of all stragglers again. And if you talk about it, there is a getting hurried socially to marry off the daughters. Nobody is really thinking it is all about just being single and if it is a mother, then being a mother to a second one. So there is always the societal pressures that come in, which work as an impediment to one's talent. And then the financial part. Because of loss of productive years, I have seen that financially women lose their independence. Like, the best thing you can do is to empower a woman is to create a bank account for her. To help her if you know someone, a woman who doesn't have a bank account. The first thing, if she has a bank account and she has 100 rupees in that, she will try to make it 200 rupees and the next day it is 500 rupees. That is the kind of thing that empowers a woman. So when I was talking about empowering women, how to empower women, then I thought about even my own personal journey. And this is what do we need to offer to women to make them feel empowered. The first thing is the ability to think for oneself. Now, this whole journey is more about storytelling than anything else. For instance, when I started my first firm, the HR firm, I will admit to you that I had employed women with great gusto, that I'm going to have women employees and give them a very great working environment. But now I avoid hiring women. The reason why, it's not that I'm against women, I'm a great women's empowerment evangelist. But most women, what happens is, first, they either have a father कि मेरे पापा मुझे allow नहीं कर रहे. They have a brother who says कि नहीं मेरा भाई ये बोल रहा है. Then there is a boyfriend, or there is always a male dominating figure which is telling them. The woman, even if she wants to think for herself, she will back out and she has something to say that कि मेरे घर में allow नहीं कर रहे हैं. So they will, or a husband. And when they get older, it is always the son कि बेटे ने मना कर दिया, बेटे ने मुझे बहुत डांटा, मेरे बेटे ने. So the very fact that they cannot think for myself. I mean, why can't I think for myself? Simple, तुम अपने लिए क्यों नहीं सोचती हो? So it came to a point where I found that the level of absenteeism was very high in my office, and there was at the end of the day, you do any business you do for profit, you are profit centered, and this was just not working for me. Either girls or women who are highly professional, who have gone to professional colleges, who are in that state or level of empowerment, again that can be fine. There is a category who says they are educated, but they cannot think for themselves. And if they think for themselves, they are rebels. So the first point is to make them, to acknowledge that they are not thinking for themselves, they don't need somebody else to think for themselves. So after that, with my experience, I kind of totally decided that I have to have men to work, and that is it. End of story. I have to keep my profits high. Then it's problem solving, self-esteem, and supporting networks. I strongly feel that to empower a woman, she must have problem solving skills. things like, if there is a electricity outage in the office, or there is a water shortage, or that you have water cans coming in, they will not help themselves. The moment there is some electrical thing, they are like, "Bhaiya ko bula do." That is what happens. Why cannot you do simple? These are basic skills. Why can you not take a screwdriver and fix a thing yourself? Those are those very small, tiny things that can really help you feel empowered rather than being dependent. Anything that has to do a bit with, even like fixing a, small switch or something, women will always look towards, they always do look towards, there is somebody else who will do it. Rather than once you start thinking for yourself and you think that, no, this is something you need to sit and do it. So I can very proudly say when my son has a problem with his computer, or he has a problem with some gadget, I'm the one he comes to, and I can resolve his issues on that, rather than the other way around. Only if I'm busy, I can sing. Then talking about again, self-esteem is really connected to the ability to think for oneself, and then creating supportive networks. Now women have this very big issue to fit in. They want to always be we have been conditioned to be the good girl, and we've been conditioned, अच्छे लड़के लड़कियाँ ये नहीं करती. Girls from good families don't do that. Well, you have to just be badass. That is all. Because the conditioning only makes you very, very weak. There is this good girl syndrome is something that I'm really tired of. I'm bad. I want to be bad, and this is it. So it is, women are always trying. At least if you have low self-esteem, there is always a sense of trying to appease the other person. The niceness is ingrained into us, and it took me a very long time to even for me to get out. And if we are able to help women to get to that point, I'm sure we will have a huge woman power force, and 50% is women, and creating supportive networks. This is goes for your friends, for your mothers. Even in traditional circles in villages, you have so many self-help groups. So having, this is supportive networks. They are informal networks. They don't necessarily have to be formal associations. So identification of, again, I went back to the drawing board and said that, where do the empowerment, women's empowerment opportunities start? When you say opportunity, what is it? It is a window through which, okay, fine, there is a sliver of hope कि यहाँ पे मुझे कुछ उम्मीद है, वो आपके घर में स्टार्ट होती है, आपके मदर के साथ स्टार्ट होती है, या like the mother feeding the boy food पहले कि नहीं ये लड़के के लिए रखो, and the daughter is given the food later on. So it starts from there. If you're giving an equal opportunity that okay fine, this is for both, and treating them equal, that is where you have created a window for her to feel equal. And the thing about this women empowerment, actually, really speaking, when I look at it, like being a woman, it is treated like some kind of a sickness, कि ये बीमारी है, ये बेचारी औरत है, कि वो तो लेडी है ना, वो तो ऐसे है ना, जैसे उसको लेडी बोला तो वो तो मतलब there is तो उसको मतलब जैसे पता नहीं उसका एक हाथ कटा हुआ है, वो महंगा है और बिल्कुल लंगड़ा है उसके लिए. I can understand if you are an expectant mother, fine. And women also are in this whole thing, we as women. We say we are equal everywhere, but वो जब क्यों लगता है ना women के लिए सीधा तो जाके आगे खड़े हो जाएंगे कि ये तो women के लिए, this is the preference. Either you are equal or you are preferred. So it is the choice that you want to make. So if you are equal, then you don't take any preference. If you are preferred, then you say कि I don't have one arm, I don't have one limb, I'm good with that. So if you are going to look at yourself and feel that, oh, I'm about violence, but simple harassment. What has stopped a woman from getting up and saying, "Maage laga do," you the end of story. It doesn't backfire at all because I have done it myself. Then, socially, how can you create those opportunities? Speaking to girl child, the women that come to your house, talk to them, understand what their lives are like, be inquisitive. Are their children going to school? Are they being educated? Why? For instance, this girl who worked in my house, I asked her why she's not studying. She said because of the money, the typical economic issues. So I'm willing to sponsor her education. That is where you're creating an opportunity rather than waiting for some big scale, large scale Mr. Ratan Tata to fly and say that from now on I'm going to empower every woman and take her on board in my company. Companies are doing a lot. Actually, all I have in the corporate, there is definitely a sway towards hiring more women. But ironically, where you're trying to empower women, now women don't have the skills only. So they are trying to hire women with half the skills for same job, which now I think men are being discriminated. Like men will not get the same job, so we are actually in the best time of we are living in the best time. आपको इतनी चिंगू सी skill चाहिए and you can get a good job. Whereas that fellow is gone to IIT, he will be without a job because girls. That is what my son was telling me yesterday only. He said, "Mama, the boys don't get as much preference. Women, if even they have basic, they get a good placement, we will not get because he's a guy." So educated women can really do well, and if they can do well, they should do everything within them to educate other women. Because this is all, end of the day, this is a drawing room discussion. So, then is the emotional part, understanding that women, how do you empower yourself? What are the opportunities? Again, the same thing it comes to. Because we experience our life more intensely, we are highly emotional. For us, everything is very intense, like deep colors, deep joys, deep sadness. Because we can experience life more intensely, I think we can create more windows for ourselves for work, financially also and also socially. And training, then if we put ourselves first, there is no end to finding something meaningful in your life rather than putting anybody else before you. And then changing the narrative in self-talk and being aware of yourself. On the spiritual part, I would say that I always look at myself, the joke was that I tell myself when I wake up in the morning, I touch my own feet because I think I'm a goddess. If I don't think I'm God, then nobody is. Because if that is the kind of confidence you need to have in yourself. If you're a goddess, if you're a god yourself, there is plenty you can do. We go to God, our whatever divinity to ask Him to bless you. You should feel you yourself are that you can bless like 500 women or the entire women folk in this universe. And also be able to connect to those you resonate more deeply. It doesn't have to do with just business or startup opportunities, network on that basis, but also on a spiritual level. Financially, make your own financial decisions, have your own bank account, and help women create their own bank accounts and monetize the expression of gratitude. The best way that you can empower any woman who works for you, any woman who comes to you and does something for you, to monetize that rather than say thank you. Because by not offering her due worth of her labor, you are denigrating her. So nothing that a woman does for you, don't take it for free. Because a man will say, "Ki mere ko is kaam ke 100 rupees de." But a woman is very decent. She will never say that. She will just keep quiet. And that is where these people chal isne manga nahi hai, main isko दूंगी. So that is something that you need to the moment, I don't know how many of you have seen Lavada ladies. In that, this girl, she starts selling on a ready, she starts selling some mapa hota hai dudh ka bana ke, and the moment the owner gives her 100 rupees, this girl feels so good about that 100 rupees that she gets. So you have to create that value for a person कि तेरे काम की value है. वो आप कहीं पे भी जाते हो, if it means 5 rupees extra or 10 rupees extra, you are creating that hope in that person that my work is worth something. Because the moment you don't give, you are letting the person know that your effort is worthless. And then rooting for her each and every time. Women will make mistakes like men. We let go. Men make sometimes I have had women will be conscientious, and same goes for men also. But like we are more tolerant towards mistakes sometimes the other gender makes than your own. And then we go into this entire emotional mind. How could she do it? How could she do it? But for we don't feel the same like guys are like that or something like that. We will just there is a blanket kind of statement for them. See, then gaining relevant knowledge, skills and partnerships. So frankly speaking, you have to chart your own course. If I say that in my startups I had how it started, why it started, and what were the financials I looked at, what was the study I did and strategy and all that. I did nothing like that. I just started purely out of need. I needed to be earning, and because there was no job, I started that, and when I started that, I was really after it, and it got me this far. So no two stories are alike. Everybody has their own experience. You have to just find your relevant communities and acquire and grow organically. And as and when an idea strikes you, if it resonates with you, you just take it up. So there were, like I have 3 or 4 parallel ventures. Now, if somebody says that I'm like really successful, in one way I am, because I am the boss. So in the end, I have the luxury of not putting too much effort, or the luxury of putting as much as I want to put and not be accountable to anybody. So HR as a practice, it took off because that was my professional background, and I didn't know what else to do immediately after my son's birth. It was a purely an economic need. Then senior living solutions came up also because of a personal experience. However, it made a very compelling case that looking at elderly housing, which I found there was no database, no aggregation available throughout. 70% of the senior living facilities are available in south of India. We did a study, and then just hardly about 30% here. The market is not mature. The company is still there. I mean, I feel, and we are ready to go as and when the market matures. Not right away. We realize after I burned my fingers for like 2 years, and then I realized that we have to scale it back. But however, it is still growing organically. I wouldn't say that it is not. Satyajit is something which is I have been deeply disturbed by rape of educated women, by educated girls, by some, bus cleaners and all that. So that means that it is to teach the boys. And they are doing it out of total, they are not even aware whether it is a crime, because this is from an unorganized sector which is happening. So these are outreach programs which I do in the unorganized sector for boys to teach them and sensitize them to women and gender issues. So this is purely out of something I have compassion for. Otherwise, it's not. It's just it's more in the social domain. The last one is roaming rituals, which I have just started. This is for personal love because I love luxury. I love to travel and travel in luxury. So it is not. It's something that was on my mind for a long time, and I thought, what can be better than I travel in, in complete comfort. It's not at all a budget travel, and I'm not averse to making good money. So this is something which comes as a personal passion, and of course, this is a very recent venture, and I'm very happy to share with you. Again, this startup, I don't know, it happened organically, but we are totally sold out. So, we've had 2 programs which are totally sold out, and I have nothing to kind of complain there. So, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah.
Hello. Are you clear on the questions? Or should we reserve it for later?
Okay, I will explain myself to now, please.
Thank you, Ina. I think you've done wonderfully.
Thank you very much.
And
Just one question is, you mentioned about senior citizen living.
Yeah.
This is just, matching the requirements of senior citizen to the available units or the whole, part of it that old age homes, complete maintenance, that kind of thing, or just matching with the.
See, we are doing only matching. Basically, what my company does is, one is when people reach a certain age in their late 70s, 80s, or they may have health issues a little earlier, but they are, you can call them senior citizens. They don't have the bandwidth of exploring, properties like we do in a young age. Like if I were to buy a flat today, it will take me a year and looking at least 30, 40 properties before actually finalizing. So what my company does is we validate whether this is livable, whether what they put on the website is true. Because the process started with trying to help a very sick relative of mine to get into such a place. And then I found there was no data, and on consolidated data available on any single website, like you have TripAdvisor, you have hotels.com, and you have everything, but not for this. So when I started, the websites were looking good, but when I went there, it was really dirty. And for instance, culturally also, some places, they say they're totally vegetarian. Some places they will say we don't entertain alcohol. So for men, it is a very big. It's kind of difficult for, especially for people who like to have a drink in the evening. So there were so many layers within layers of preferences for this. So since this is very complicated, and there is no exact data available and no validation that whether it is a good place or a bad place, or does it suit your temperament or not. So that is where it started from. So we match. We firstly हम लोग जाके पूरी रेकी करते हैं पूरी institutions की ऐसे. They can be of a variety of charitable, they can be pay and stay, or they can be purchase or life membership. We do that, and accordingly we recommend to that. Instead of you going to like so many places, like shortlist and just share.
No, see, what is the accommodation could be a standalone accommodation or a part of a society which is totally,
Yeah, society, mostly it is society.
And you see, what you talk about 70, 80 people of the age of 50 only nowadays are looking up, because you find most, you just picture around 70 to 80% people, the children are abroad.
Yeah, that is.
People, right from the moment the children leave home, they start looking for these kinds of people are looking at it, and as the our ages are because of increases all and continue to live very long.
Yeah.
So people are looking for these kinds of facilities, and it is more gamut of good matching accommodation as per your personal requirements,
Yes.
and also security, or so many. So we are looking for those kind. We're just matching a deal
No, we are looking for that. We match you to that.
because there is one match contrast.
Yes, yes.
They call themselves not single student level, but it's single student friendly kind of
Yeah.
environment they're providing. So I thought we are only matching, as of now we are only matching up the requirements and hotels.
Yeah, we are, yes, on
Well,
our
senior citizens are all of things. You know, their management of their money.
Yes,
management of
yes.
So many.
There are yes. So there are many, actually, we offer solutions, like we are also into elder travel now. Okay, because now elderly people also want to travel and enjoy themselves. So those times have gone where they were just sitting at home. They want to pamper themselves. So they also feel that they have one life to live. So we have all reached a state that everybody feels that this is the only life we have. And of course, senior living solutions also provides, like you rightly said, we match people, elderly people. We offer them reports. We tell them what the financial implications are. We do a thorough research on everything there. And if there is any additional help, like there was a gentleman in Kolkata, he wanted also help in disposing of his property before moving into an elderly home. So these processes are extremely long. They take 2 to 3 years. It is not that that it happens overnight. It is not transactional. It's not like a Flipkart. So senior living, that is why I said that this is a very long drawn process, and to say that when the results will fructify, very difficult to say. But that is the area we are in. We are totally there to assist elderly people, and we are very aware of what is going on in the senior. Oh yes, we are all moving. It is in fact. If we going to be top heavy in another 10 years time, it is, I think we are going off the topic, but in another 10 years time, we will have, it will be a top heavy structure. There will be less younger people because our replacement ratio is totally reversed now. That means replacement, that means the number of children being born and the number of people dying, has reversed now. That means there are more elderly people and less children being born right now. So we are in Japan in the making. Okay, and within 10 years we will realize that, and how many millions of middle class people, elderly, will move to poverty, to a state of become impoverished because of lack of financial planning and because of the current lifestyles they are leading. They are in their 40s to 50s, mid 50s, like that. Yeah.
That was
Okay,
lovely.
yes, thank you very much.
I have some takeaways.